Hello, this is Ray Johnson here on Instagram Christianity, and I have with me for this week's edition the wonderful Tom Cox, who is in the scouting world with me as a Sea Scout leader, and also is in the Coast Guard Auxiliary, where he has a prominent role there, and his motorboat is used quite a bit for seeing different events and regattas and all these sorts of things. So I wanted to first ask you, since of your ties with BSA, if over the years you've noticed, because there's a requirement for scouting where we have to do religious things and um, pay homage to other people's beliefs. So was there any that was kind of different from what you've known out of Christianity, like vastly so, or did you find most of them to be pretty similar?
Well, in scouting, the scouts believe in pretty much all religions. Um, so they try to do a generic service, if you will, in any of their events. So they truly believe in the Lord, that there's one God. But as far as being a Christian or having some other religion, um, they don't, I guess, concentrate on any one particular one. However, the different units, the smaller units that are associated with a church of some description, um, do kind of lead the effort, if you will, to the religious medals, if you will, or badges, so that the scouts get a better, I guess, association with their own religion. And I know the leaders, each of the leaders has their own religion. I know I've had to actually be in charge of, church, if you will, out in the woods and all with different ones. But I had to really think about what I was going to say or how I was going to do it so that I wouldn't insult any other religion or cause them to think that I was trying to preach one particular religion to them.
Nice. I like that answer. um,
Well, good.
Because I think just overall in media, the thought of inclusivity and respecting, even if you don't fully understand, is a lost art when it comes to how the Christian church is advertised to the world. So, uh, to kind of delve more into the scouting aspect, I'm curious as to when you were first becoming prominent in the roles that you've obtained with the Coast Guard and things like that. Did you notice any particular, like, did you seem that it was more focused on God and religion when you were growing up versus now, or have you not really noticed a shift?
Well, I think it depends on the people you're working with. Um, Most of the Coast Guard guys that I deal with are Christians, and they say the blessing at each meal. Um, just like we used to when I was growing up. So, in that respect, nothing has really changed. Um, so, I mean, they respect the Christianity. I haven't seen that we in the Coast Guard side of it is really focused at all on different religions. Um, so I I haven't seen any difference at all since from what I'm used to growing up.
Well, that's cool. um, and kind of going to the thought of change, have you noticed with the church that you've grown up with and that ideology, if you've seen a shift with how nowadays, if you feel like it was more traditional back then than now, or what are your thoughts on that?
Uh, well, I guess I'm kind of screwed up in that respect. Because I started out in the Baptist church, even though my dad was a Baptist, my mom was a Methodist. And when I grew up, the churches were literally side by side on Main Street. We ended up in the Baptist church initially, and I think till I was in my, oh gosh, teens, if you will, I went to a Baptist church. Um, and then when we moved, I got married and we moved out where we are now. Um, we actually started going to the Methodist church that's right up the road. There is a difference in the two as far as I was concerned. Um, and I, I'm not sure how to say this without kind of somewhat insulting either one group, but the Baptists tended to be, for me, more worried about what they wore in church and how they looked and how you looked to the rest of the world and the outside world. It, to me, seemed more of a me head trip for them. Whereas I got with the Methodist church and it was more of, let's go out and help people and be like Jesus was, you know, and considered other people and other people's feelings and thoughts. And, you know, literally, I mean, I've gone out and rebuilt homes after hurricanes. And this was, you know, done within the church. I, you know, helped people, you know, build little lamps, you know, when they couldn't, when they got older and they had to have a wheelchair. You know, we built ramps for them. So, and they also provided more to me, more of a personal things. You had something personal going on, you know, people were willing to listen to you. Um, and so, you know, it just seemed to be a different atmosphere, if you will, between the two churches as I grew up. I'm much more into the way the Methodists did it than the way the Baptists did it. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, for sure. Because I think that sometimes when people approach the stereotype of Christianity, they forget that there's a lot of subgenres of us, you know. um, and it's interesting you pointed that out because I noticed too with Baptist church because that's all I've known. Except for when I went to my college, it's labeled as Methodist, but they're pretty inclusive with Hillel things and other religions to study there. But yeah, it's definitely a contrast for sure. Uh, and you brought up the kind of missionary service work of helping people's houses. Have you noticed in with your work with scouts and things, and even Coast Guard events that may have this aspect as well, that if you thought any service projects ended up turning out to be religious when maybe they weren't intended to be so, and it just kind of happened the way it is, or if you notice a lot of them were more in the church areas with helping churches expand and whatnot, like what are your observations with that?
Well, scouting, being as how at one point in time, I think the Methodist Church was the biggest sponsor of scouting. Um, and not to say that the other Catholics and Baptists and all didn't sponsor scout units, but um, the Methodists over the whole United States, you know, had more to do with it. Um, and the scouts brought in guys that were interested, guys and gals that were interested, you know, in camping and going out and doing adventures. The Sea Scouts are focused obviously on the sea and the water and, you know, doing things out there. So, you know, these groups were, I guess, while they were in a church, um, environment, they tended to draw people from that church, and they also drew leaders from that church. So I think they had more, I guess, role models, if you want to call it that, from the church atmosphere.
Yeah, that makes sense. uh, I'm also curious about role models that you had in your personal life, if whether they're at a celebrity status or whatnot, if you tended to gravitate toward a specific type of admiration for someone, of what they were into, like if they believed in God or not, or you didn't really think it mattered too much when it came to admiring someone's craft.
Well, I look at it this way: when you act like Jesus wanted you to act, and you treated people like He wanted you to treat them, those are the role models that I looked at. Is the people that actually cared for and worked with others. Um, that um, I mean that's I mean, now that I say it, it sounds awful simple, but I mean it really is. Um, I admire the people that um, help others and take people as their brothers and sisters across the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like these people that think they're all, above everybody or anything like that. And I tend to take somebody, I told you before that if you're shy, and you hang around me, you really won't be shy long. Because that's just the way that I am. It's you become you become a friend no matter what you do,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to get along and do things together if you hang around me at all.
I can attest how true that is, that you bring out the best energy of people for sure. So that's quite accurate. uh, and I agree with you when it comes to placing stake at who you want to emulate in things, because I also have noticed the theme of people that are basically modern day Pharisees that are becoming the stereotype dissuading people from Christianity, where they're saying that you live a certain way, have a certain financial income, then you can't go to a specific church or hang out with a specific Christian group, or you need to hang out 2 to 3 times a week versus just once a week because then you're more Christian. Those types of checklist things are very unnecessary, but probably a lot easier
Well,
for those people to control. So.
I've told a preacher up there not long ago. I said, if you put me at the top of a mountain, I feel closer to God than I feel anywhere else. And that's just kind of me. I feel more closer to God when I sing, uh, as I would listen to somebody preach to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's probably just me, or just the way I feel, but it's actually true. Now I do sing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Coast Guard catch me singing on a boat while we're riding through the water. And they all look at me like I'm nuts, but they'll get over that. So.
They're probably more than just your singing too. They think that.
Well, this is true, But there's a couple of things I did learning in scouting is that, and I've seen it over and over again, and that's you lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you're kind to other people and you're willing to help other people, and even if it means messing up your schedule or doing whatever, to help somebody, others will see that in you.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do, if you admire them at all, you're going to change to be somewhat that way. You tend to to change to be like people around you, or you tend to gravitate to people that make you feel better about yourself. Um, and when you are involved in Christianity at all, you're going to make, if you truly believe in the way it is, you're going to make people feel better, um, about being a Christian.
Mm-hmm. Very true. And my last question for you is, since the adage is for sailing that you're never a skillful sailor if you have smooth seas all the time. You're going to have rough waters. So, what's a prominent time in your life where you faced a challenging time and you're thinking, "Oh my goodness, there's no way I can get through it." Uh, and then you end up seeing the other side of it, hopefully without too much trouble, and you realize that God's the only reason you even were able to see the light of day, if you will, from that circumstance.
Sweetheart, you do not have enough time for all that. if you know me at all, I've done so many things in my life that I'm not sure that I was even going to come out the other side of it. I guess if I could have broke it, I broke it. If I could have been stabbed, I stabbed it. I've cut my hand off. I've cut a finger off. Uh, Playing with a table saw, trying to make furniture. There's just everything in the God's green earth that I've probably done. That a lot of times I just said, Lord, it's up to you. If you need me here no longer, then I'm here. But if not, take me, and that's kind of the way it is.
Well said. uh, I've been doing this for a few episodes now, so if you have a question for me, I wouldn't mind you asking me anything. But if you don't, that's completely just as valid.
Well, I tend to learn people when I work with them. So, and I've been around you enough to know what your feelings are, how you treat other people. So, I don't think I have any questions for you, really. I kind of learned that as we got to be friends.
Aw. Well, I truly appreciate you spending time out of your busy schedule because I know you have lots of commitments in people's lives you impact every day. And I'm grateful for your words of wisdom and insight with all that I proposed with
Well,
questions for you.
Kevin, you're very welcome. You take care.
You too.